Today is the last day of my first week on wartime rations, and I do still have a little bit left. So I have consulted the cookbook, that is Patsy's Reflections, and there is a Cornish pasty recipe in there which I think would use up a lot of what I have left. So the recipe calls for 3/4 of a pound of mince. I don't have that, but I do have 2 sausages left, which I have just cooked and let cool, so they are prime for dicing and being put in with some leftover vegetables that I had and froze from earlier on in the week. Here we are, so potato pastry. I don't know what the BUs is. If anyone can let me know what BUs may be, that would be great. So we need a little bit of salt, a teaspoonful of baking powder, and then we need 4 ounces of flour. Now it says to add 1.5 ounces of fat. So then I'll just turn that into breadcrumbs and I'll come back to you. Right, so we're there with the breadcrumbs. Fabulous. Now I'm going a little off recipe here, but I think it'll be quite nice, and I've got this little bit of cheese left to use up, probably about 1 ounce worth. So I'm going to add some cayenne just to help bring out the flavour of the cheese, and then I'm going to grate this into the bowl. How fluffy it is, that I love it. Fluffy. Right, okay, so cheesy pastry. Now mix to a very dry dough with a little water. Right, okay. Well, I'm going to make a well in the middle. So that's basically just make a little pool in the middle. And this is where I'm incorporating the modern, because I've got, it says, the modern says to put an egg in, and because I haven't got the potato in there binding it all together, I'm going to forego and I'm going to put an egg in. But you see, when you lived in the country during wartime, hold on, I'll just do this. Right. When you lived in the country during wartime, you had more eggs than those in the city, so you can be a little bit more luxurious. People in the city were easier to get hold of alcohol and cigarettes. People by the sea were much easier to get fish and stuff like that. In the country, you could live on rabbits and you had easier access to dairy. So it didn't matter where you lived in the country, there were pros and cons. Right, so let's see if that binds together without any water. Yeah, no, that doesn't need any more water. That's plenty. That's actually a bit sticky, to be honest. So I think now's the time to roll it out. See what I mean by it? It's a bit sticky in the bottom of the bowl. But a little extra flour, which will also mean a little bit extra pastry, and that should sort that problem out. Oh, it's a lovely mucky job, isn't it? You making pastry? I think I've overdone it. Maybe half a dried egg would have been the better option, or no egg at all. Just a little dab of water. I should have trusted the book. But there we go. We've got there in the end. Fabulous. That is rolling lovely. Now, I'm not going to bother putting it in the fridge for half an hour. Forget that. I want this made. I want to eat it. So, let's get rolling. I've now changed the page. We are now on the Cornish pasty page. It says for ½ pound of pastry. Yeah, that's what I've got. ½ pound of pastry. It calls for 3/4 pound of raw beef steak, 2 potatoes, 1 large onion, 1 medium turnip, 1 large carrot. Roll out pastry 1/4 inch thick and cut into 4 rounds the size of a tea plate. Well, I'll endeavour. I'm not the greatest in the kitchen by any means. Maybe if I cut it in half, that'll make it easier, or even quarters. How many is she doing? She's doing 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should get 4 out of this. I'm going to err on the side of caution with these, but I mean, that's about as slim as I'd want to go with it. Put some meat and vegetables on half of each round, seasoning with salt and pepper. So there's a little bit of sausage meat. We always want to make sure we get our potato in there and our carrots. Next thing, brush the edges with water, fold over and pinch well together. Okay. Tentatively fold over. And have I put too much filling in? That is the question. Possibly. Gather it, gather it, gather it. Up, up, up. That's potato poking through. Keep on going, keep on going. And then I'm going to, she's using a fork there to pinch it well together. So, pinch well together. You see, those living down in Cornwall that are really used to making Cornish pasties, they do the most beautiful fold around the outside. Nope. Definitely get it pinched together. Oh, that looks quite decorative. Oh, I do like that, that's quite nice. Make a slit in the top of each pastry. Okay, that's a slit. And bake for a few minutes in a hot oven, and then very moderately for just under 1 hour. There we are. Fantastic. Once again, thank you for joining me. The end of the week pasties are now in the oven, and if they taste half as good as what they smell, ooh, I'm going to be in for a treat tonight.